Hello. We're going to make butter swim biscuits today. These biscuits take in total about 30 minutes to make. You don't need a lot of ingredients. These are pantry staples. You're going to need all-purpose flour, buttermilk, butter, baking powder, some granulated sugar, and some salt. By way of special equipment, you're going to need an 8 by 8 by 8 pan. I happen to have one that's Pyrex, and your oven set to 450 preheated. This is going to take no time at all, and it's going to become one of your go-to biscuits because there's no cutting. There's no cutting of butter in to your mix. It's going to be really simple. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to get a full stick of butter, which is a half a cup of butter, and we're going to melt that into our pan. It looks like a lot of butter. It is a lot of butter, hence the name Butter Swim. The biscuits are going to swim in butter. We're going to melt the butter, and I'm going to do that in the microwave, and I'm going to hold on to it in the microwave so it stays, fairly warm while I go ahead and get the dry ingredients together. So now we're going to get our dry ingredients together. We're going to put them in a large bowl, and we're going to start with 2 cups of all-purpose flour. The brand doesn't matter. You may notice that I am using an einkorn flour. Just want to level that off. So that's 1 and 2. I'm using the side of the bag to do that. Make sure it's flat. That's 2. And we need a half a cup. So just to be safe, we'll get a half cup measure involved. Make sure we flatten that out nice and flat. So 2.5 cups of flour. Like I said, it just needs to be AP flour, all-purpose flour, not self-rising. Okay, so don't do that. We're going to need 4 teaspoons of baking powder. I use Rumsford because it is aluminum free. This particular one is also got reduced sodium, and I like that. So I like to control how much of everything I put into my food. We're going to need 4 teaspoons of baking powder. You'll notice there's a little lip here on your container. That's so that you can get an even measure out of there. So we need 4 of these. So there's 1, 2. I'm getting down to the bottom of mine. 3. It might just be just enough to get a 4th one out of this. You want to make sure you use everything up. And that's 4. All right. So 4 teaspoons of baking powder. Next, we're going to get 1.5 teaspoons of sugar. So I've got my same teaspoon measure. I'm going to just make sure that's level. So there's 1, and we need a half teaspoon. Everything's precise when you're baking, so there's my half teaspoon. And then we need 2 teaspoons of salt. So I'm going to set my salt to come out as a pour. Make sure that's even. So there's 1. And we said 2 teaspoons of salt. I'm actually going to go just slightly lighter because the last time I made these, it was a little too salty for my personal taste. But feel free to experiment when you're making this on your own. Well, all we're going to do now is just whisk these to combine so there's even distribution of the baking powder, the salt, and the sugar. So now that our dry ingredients are all together, we've got our butter melted in our pan. We're going to start adding in the buttermilk. And once we do that, that activates the baking powder. So you want to make sure your oven is ready, your pan is ready, and we're going to start mixing in buttermilk until we get a wet dough. So I'm putting about 3/4, maybe half. I'm just going to start mixing that together. Obviously, I'm going to need more. You can see it's more crumbly than anything right now. I'm going to go ahead and add more buttermilk. Remember, you can't remove. You can always add. So that's why I'm going slowly with the adding of the buttermilk. And I'm going down and through the middle, down and through the middle to get everything mixed in. And at the same time, I'm clearing off the sides. Now, you could use a mixer if you really wanted to for this, but in my opinion, why dirty it? This takes very little effort to get done. I'm going to add just a little more of this buttermilk. It's probably going to take all of it. There we go. You might be thinking it looks really wet right now, and it is. But it'll be fine. Just mix that in because we want a wet dough, and that's what we've got. I'm holding the bowl. I'm not going to add the rest of this. There's probably a tablespoon left in there. Just going to move that off. And my hands are clean, so I have no problem using that to clean off the side of my spatula to ensure that I've got everything well incorporated. And then use the spatula to clean off my finger. Okay, I think this is ready. Very wet dough, as you can see. And we've got our butter melted. That was a half a cup of butter. It's also considered a stick of butter. So I'm cleaning off the sides. I'm going to pour this in. I'm going to clean out my bowl. Waste not, want not. And get everything out. Okay. And now I'm going to use my spatula to make sure I even out the dough into the pan. And you can already see how this has gotten its name. The dough is literally swimming in butter. I'm going to try and get it as much into the corners as possible. Again, trying to even everything out. Here we go. We're getting there. Just be a little patient with it. I'm going to turn it around just for the angle for my hand, as I'm a righty. Almost there. Almost there. And then this is going to go into a 450 degree oven for 20 to 25 minutes. It really just depends on your oven. I have mine set right now on bake. Going to get my spatula cleaned off. I don't want to waste any of this. Here we go. This will move into those corners a bit more, but it may be hard to tell. But I have moved the batter all the way to the edges. All right. Next, this is going into the oven for 20 to 25 minutes. Okay, so we're going to take our biscuits. We're going to pop them here in the oven. You can see how that butter is all over the place. And we'll check on it in a few minutes, and you'll see how it looks. Butter swim biscuits coming at you. Biscuits have about 3 minutes left. Look at them go. We're starting to brown on the top. I also put a sheet pan underneath just to be sure in case the butter spilled out. So we're going to close this up and let it finish off. Got another couple minutes. Okay, we've got our butter swim biscuits out of the oven, and look at how beautifully browned they are. I don't want them to be too brown. You can see all of that butter has been soaked up. We're going to go ahead and cut into these and taste them. It's the beauty of being the one preparing the food. You get to taste everything. You can cut this into 9 pieces or more if you'd like. See how nice and easy that cuts? Let me do 3 this way. Turn it 90 degrees, and we're going to do the same thing. So we get 9 pieces. So you can serve 9 people pretty healthy sized biscuit. As far as how healthy it is, well, these are more of a special occasion as I see them with that much butter. All right, we're going to get a piece out of there. I'm actually using what's typically a fish spatula. It's always fun getting that first piece out, don't you think? There's this little piece really wants to be eaten. Let's get this out of here. And it's not like they're sticking, it's just a question of getting in there. And there you have it. Butter swim biscuits. I hope you enjoy making them, eating them, and sharing them.